Welcome back to the Rodecast, guys. Hope y'all doing well out there. I'm your host, Rod, as always. And in this video, we're going to be talking once again about another story of the local media here in California demonizing and villainizing ICE while lying for the people, the illegals who are arrested here, and a so-called US citizen who doesn't seem to understand anything about immigration and why ICE is doing what they're doing. So I'm going to explain in this video to her and to everybody else who doesn't seem to understand what the word borders mean and what legal immigration means. Okay. Now, I just want to go on the record. The reason I'm doing these videos is because news channels like KTLA5 and also KCal News, who also had an even more biased video on this, they pretend to be straight news, right? They pretend to just report the facts. And for the most part, on a lot of stories, they do just report the facts, like on weather events and earthquakes and things like that, things that happen in California. They do straight news. But when it comes to this issue of immigration, it's the one issue where they're completely on the side of the illegals. They're automatically ready to attack ICE no matter what the facts are. Okay. The first 5 seconds of this video, this guy here just straight up lies about how ICE wrongfully arrested this person. There's nothing wrongful about this arrest. She literally put her body, and she was pregnant, so she put her potential kid at risk by standing in front of a truck, a ICE vehicle, trying to prevent her illegal boyfriend from Guatemala from being shipped away. After he broke the law, she decided to put herself on the line to basically try to protect him from being deported, which is what is supposed to happen according to the law, because he broke into a place that he doesn't belong. And we're supposed to feel bad for her just because she's pregnant. So she's using her pregnancy to try to extort empathy from us. And the local news is trying to help her do that. Okay. So my problem is, if you're completely on the side of the illegals, just say that in the beginning. With my videos, you know where I stand. When you see my intro, you know that I'm against immigration. You know what I believe in. It's in my intro. Okay. Borders matter, heritage matters, and blood matters. Okay. It says that on my intro. Everybody knows where I'm coming from. And so you guys know where it is. Okay. The local news is, for the most part, objective. But when it comes to the issue of immigration in America, they're not objective, and they're completely against ICE. They won't say that, but they pretend to be objective while their framing of the story and the commentary they do and the presentation they do is clearly anti-ICE. Clearly, they have decided to be on the side of the illegals, no matter what it is, and try to make people feel bad for them. Okay. So that's why I do these videos, to frame the story correctly and give you guys the facts of what's actually happening. If ICE actually does something wrong, then I'm going to tell you that. Okay. I support ICE, but we also have to follow the law. And if they broke it, then I would tell you, hey, this is what happened. ICE did, went too far or whatever. I tell you that. But here, this story, both these videos are examples of the local news trying to simp for illegals and for people who feel sorry for them while demonizing ICE, when ICE was just doing their job. They have a mandate to get all the illegals out. That's what they were trying to do. This woman stood in the way, and so she was arrested. Briefly, by the way, and then she was released because she was pregnant, okay? And she safely gave birth as well. So the anchor baby was successfully born here. So they accomplished what they want to. But we'll talk more about the anchor baby thing later, because her anchor baby might now be able to be deported because of the recent decision. But she is in California, so that's unlikely unless the Supreme Court rules that Trump's birthright citizenship executive order is valid. Then she can be deported. But for right now, she's safe, and I call it an anchor baby because the dad was an illegal. Okay. But nevertheless, that's something we can debate. Okay. Now, before I get started with this video, I just want to tell you guys that I did post a video about the universal injunction yesterday, which is right here. If you didn't see that because the algorithm doesn't show all the videos, go check that out. Especially if you care about the law and exactly what happened in this legal decision. I explained the decision by the majority, headed up by Amy Coney Barrett. So check out this video if you want the legal details on why the decision came out the way it did and the background regarding it and how it impacts the anchor babies, like I just mentioned. So check that out if you haven't done so already.
A woman in Hawthorne is speaking out after being wrongfully detained by ICE.
She was placed in handcuffs and taken into a processing site despite being a U.S. citizen and 9 months pregnant. KTLA's Annie Rose Ramos is live in Hawthorne this morning with her story. Good morning.
Okay, so this guy here just said that she was wrongfully arrested. When you see the video, you'll see that there's nothing wrongful about it. She literally placed herself at risk to try to stop the ICE vehicle. She put her hands on an ICE agent. That's why she was arrested. She was arrested for interfering with the federal officer's job. Okay, with the carrying out of his job. That is a literal federal code. It's in the 18 U.S. code, where if you try to interfere with an arrest, you can be arrested, and that's why she was arrested. So you can see their bias by their title and also by what they said. Within the first 5 seconds, he already got it wrong when he said that she was wrongfully arrested.
She was placed in handcuffs and taken into
after being wrongfully detained by ICE.
She was placed in.
There's nothing wrongful about it. So you can already see their bias because they're completely on the side of this woman already before even the story begins.
Hey guys, good morning to you both. Yeah, what started as a regular day for 23-year-old Carly Lopez Alvarado turned into a nightmare. She was here picking up her boyfriend and cousin who work as a maintenance crew at this building, but then ended up being detained by federal agents. And as a 9-month pregnant woman, her biggest fear wasn't for herself, but instead for her unborn baby.
And they're using the pregnancy as a cudgel to make people feel bad about supporting ICE. By the way, it's not working. I looked at the comment section. People are not buying it. Okay, and I posted my own comment as well, correcting what they said here. But yeah, just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you get to break laws. Okay, that's the bottom line. This reporter is basically capitalizing on the fact that she's pregnant to basically demonize ICE. So once again, you can see clearly where their bias lies. It's against ICE and on the side of the illegals.
Ma'am, move your hand away.
No.
Move your hand away. Listen.
Sir.
Ma'am, put cuffs on her. Put cuffs on her. Ma'am, put cuffs on her. Hold her hand.
I was kind of scared. So like my voice was very shaky in the video, but I tried to stay strong because
ICE agents detaining Carly Lopez Alvarado Sunday, June 9th, a week before her due date during a Hawthorne raid, after she says she was protecting the truck her boyfriend was inside of, standing between ICE agents at the car door. Federal agents telling her she was interfering with her boyfriend's apprehension, and in a matter of minutes, they were arresting her boyfriend, her cousin, and her.
So this is what I mean when I say they're biased, right? This reporter just explained the facts of what happened here, and it's on video, okay? ICE has all of the stuff on video. They have body cameras, and you can see her blocking this officer from doing his job. But in the beginning of the video, this guy said she was wrongfully arrested. How is she wrongfully arrested if the evidence of her crimes is in your own video? It's like it's either this guy didn't watch his own segment or whoever wrote the script for him just wanted to push lies about ICE. I have no idea. I don't know. But nevertheless, the point is the video itself contains evidence of her crime. She's literally preventing the officers from doing their job because she disagrees with it, because she doesn't believe in borders. She thinks people should be able to freely cross into any country and never face any consequences.
they had my boyfriend on the ground already, and they had tackled my cousin down. And that's when I was inside the car, and I was kind of just banging on the door because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you guys treating us like that? They didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, apparently breaking into somebody else's country is nothing wrong. Of course, so this one doesn't believe in borders, okay? She thinks anybody should be able to break into your house and just stay forever. That's her philosophy, okay? That's what she's been trained. She's one of the globalists, okay? And I don't want to personally attack her because there are a lot of people who've been brainwashed by this stuff. I was brainwashed by this stuff, that anybody should be able to go into any country without any rules. There's no regulations, no vetting. Any rapist, murderer, you should all welcome them with open arms. This is the ideology of the progressive left, and she's been infected by it. So I don't want to attack her personally. She's just a kid, but nevertheless, well, she's not a kid. She's a woman, but nevertheless, she's young. And when I was in my 20s, I believed this nonsense as well. So, don't want to go after her personally, but this ideology is infectious and it destroys countries. This is why people need to learn why borders matter. Until you get hurt by one of these illegals, people don't appreciate the value of having a border, having a safe country. Okay, until I saw the actual effect on the citizens of illegal immigration and just immigration overall, I was I was for open borders. Okay, there was a time when I was for open borders. That wasn't very long ago. It was only in around 2020, 2021 that I started changing my mind because I saw what was happening to Europe and I saw what's happening to America, and I was not down with that. This ideology is widespread.
The Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary telling KTLA, quote, Carly Lopez was arrested because she obstructed federal law enforcement by blocking access to a car that had 2 Guatemalan illegal aliens in it. During this incident, agents were assaulted and an additional subject was taken into custody after he pushed an officer. Federal agents taking Carrie to a processing facility in San Pedro. The agents, she says, telling her she was going to have her baby while in detention. Agents eventually releasing Carrie after she said she started feeling pain around her belly. She raced to the hospital where she started having contractions, she believes, from the stress of what happened. 4 days later, she delivered a healthy baby girl. Her boyfriend, the baby's father, is Brian Alexander Barrera, undocumented from Guatemala. Carrie says he is now being held at a detention facility in Texas.
He's not undocumented. He's an illegal invader into our land. See, only people who don't value borders and value America say things like undocumented instead of illegal invader, which is what he actually is. Okay. And no matter how happy they look, no matter what kind of signs they throw up, it doesn't change the fact that they have no right to be here. They have no respect for borders. They think they can just break in and stay forever. Okay. And we're supposed to be okay with that. We are not okay with that. No matter how sympathetic your stories are, I'm still not okay with it. So here's KCAL News. Okay. This is even more biased coverage than the KTLA 5, which actually reported some facts. So like I said, local news usually does a good job on the facts, but when it comes to immigration, they just can't do it. Okay. And I have a suspicion of why that is, but the facts speak for themselves. Their bias is clear.
Is still emotional, admitting she was standing up to them as they were trying to get to her boyfriend who was inside a truck, but she says she used words and nothing else. Again, she had her smartphone rolling as it happened.
You're not breaking the window.
You're not gonna touch me. Don't touch me. Move away.
I'm not touching
You're not touching me.
She just touched him, right? That's why he looked down. She put his hands on him, and she was actively trying to prevent him from arresting the person inside the car. Okay, either her boyfriend or her cousin, it's not clear. That looks like her boyfriend, but nevertheless, you can see it on camera that she touched him. Okay, don't make contact with federal agents. Don't touch the police. Don't try to prevent them from making an arrest. Okay, and she's recording herself committing a crime. And this agent's camera, the body cam, is likely going to have her showing that she touched him.
Nothing else. Again, she had her smartphone rolling as it happened.
You're not breaking the window.
You're not gonna touch me. Don't touch me. Move away.
I'm not touching you.
You're not touching me. Don't touch me. Move away.
Knowing that you put someone that was pregnant in all that, like, it just shows that they have no type of empathy or anything for anybody at the moment.
Agents claim.
Look at that. She's crying and sobbing and using her pregnancy to attack ICE agents. She interferes with an arrest of an illegal, and then she blames ICE for not having empathy. This is what these people do. And then the local media, as you'll see, completely backs her side, saying that they're the monsters because she happens to be pregnant and also a criminal who interfered with the federal arrest. But she's Hispanic, so they have to be on her side, or whatever the reason is. I actually don't know. But anyways, she interferes and commits a crime against ICE while they're trying to do their job, and then cries about it on local news and says that I was the victim because I'm pregnant, feel sorry for me, even though I was trying to stop a federal officer from doing their job, but feel sorry for me because I'm pregnant. She's using her unborn baby and her pregnancy as a weapon against ICE because she's not happy that her illegal boyfriend from Guatemala got arrested. So it's up to you how you want to feel about it, but this is nuts.
Claimed she was interfering as they were trying to apprehend her boyfriend, who is undocumented. They eventually detained her, her boyfriend, and her cousin. Lopez says she was held for nearly 8 hours at a facility in San Pedro, handcuffed, and eventually also chained from her hands to her legs, all the while terrified for her unborn child.
It was really close to my stomach, so I would have my hands out the most I can so that I don't put too much pressure. I was just crying the whole time. But I knew I had to calm down because I had my baby inside.
Lopez says her boyfriend, 19-year-old Brian Najera Barrera, was late to an immigration appointment last year after their car broke down, and so he was slated for deportation back to Guatemala.
The comments saying they're going after the criminal, he's not a criminal.
If you broke into my house, you are a criminal. See, again, this woman doesn't understand what a border is. She thinks every single country should just, or it's not even every single country. She wouldn't say that about her own country. If a bunch of white people start going to Mexico, I don't think you'd be happy with that. And there are a lot of Mexicans who are not happy with a bunch of fucking white people coming to their resorts. Okay, they get very mad. There are videos online of them cursing out the gringos. Okay, which I don't blame them. Actually, I don't really support white people going to other people's countries. Okay, stay in your own country where you're born. I'm against tourism. Okay, there's plenty of stuff for you to see in America. You don't need to go into any of these third world countries. So I don't support any of those white people, by the way. Okay, I support the natives who are against them coming in, just like I'm against foreigners coming into my country. So everybody should protect their own borders and be with their own people. That's my ideology. You can agree with it, not, but I'm fair to everybody. Okay, I have the same ideology, applies to everybody. If I go to a foreign country and there are people who don't like me because I'm a foreigner, fair enough. I understand that. I would never be in their country anyways. I was born here. I'm going to die here. This is my land. That's how I see it. But she doesn't see, she's the exact opposite. She doesn't care. She thinks everybody should be able to go into America, okay, invade our country from every side, and we should say nothing about it and let every foreigner come into our country. This is the globalist, progressive ideology, which we have to fight against because it's going to destroy every country, not just America.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Again, doesn't understand the meaning of the word border and illegal crossings. He's an illegal invader. You decide to have a kid with an illegal. That's why he's being deported. And he is a criminal, actually, because he broke the law when he stepped into this land.
We're just trying to provide for both of us.
Agents released Lopez after she complained of stomach pain. She went right to the hospital where she says doctors told her she'd started having early contractions. When the baby was born 4 days later, Lopez cried as she told her boyfriend, who was sent to an El Paso detention center.
I told him, like, she's here, and I told him I'm gonna protect her. And I hope that everything turns out so you could be here with us.
He's not coming back. Anyways, she says she's trying to protect the baby. Why were you trying to stand in front of a truck that was about to leave if you're trying to protect your baby? Okay, that doesn't seem like you're trying to protect your baby. It seems like you're willing to put your body on the line and your baby on the line because you're trying to prevent ICE from arresting your illegal boyfriend. Okay, that's what it seemed like. Seemed like you didn't care about your baby at all. So you cared more about, protecting the criminal than your baby. That's what it seems like from your actions. But, that's up to you to judge.
She has not been charged, but now has an attorney who says the video speaks for itself. And
yeah, the video does speak for itself. The video shows her committing a crime, interfering with the federal arrest. Good job.
Speaks of what he calls an attack on the Latino community.
This isn't the United States at its best. This is the United States at its worst.
Disagreed, bro. This is the United States at its best. We don't want you here. If you want your Latino community to be safe, you can be in your own Latino countries. Okay, this is not a Latino country. This is an English country built by George Washington, okay, and the founding fathers who came from England, not Mexico. Okay, you guys have a country, but you want to invade ours and then demand rights? Get your ass out of here. Okay, that's all I can say to you. Latino community. Please, man, please. All right, so yeah, again, both of these stations are clearly on the side of the illegals and the people who attack ICE. And their coverage and the framing shows that. And that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like I said, check out this video if you guys like the law and legal issues being explained clearly. Make sure to like the video if you enjoy the content. I'll see you guys in my next video, as always.